going on, dudes and dudettes? I know it's been a while. Been actually finally working again, pretty much full time, basically every day. So yeah, it's been tough to try to get one of these videos back together, but hopefully I'll be able to do this not too long. If it goes more than 10 minutes, like pushing 20, then I'll put them in two separate videos, different days. But yeah, I'll try to get this as soon as possible. Let's see if I even remember how to do this. So it's going to be all USC when it comes to a 4-star linebacker in Ty Jackson. Looks like he set up an official visit for September 7th, so that's pretty nice. Hopefully he's a guy that's in the running later in the process with USC. There's another player, a 4-star wide receiver, Jerome Miles, I talked about pretty recently. He's setting his commitment date for October 30th, but it looks like there's going to be a lot more competition now, because I know I think I even said at the time recently that Utah was kind of like the leading team in his recruitment, but as of right now, it looks like everybody's trying to get in there because he's been doing pretty good where he's been playing, throwing up some pretty nice stats the first couple games of the year, so everybody's going to try to get him. Hopefully USC can get him on an official visit soon as well. Then a 2026 5-star wide receiver, Chris Henry Jr., says that a lot of teams, especially even USC, is in the mix right now for his recruitment. I know I mentioned him being like the second best, maybe even the top best player in that 2026 class, whether it was on 3 or 247. And it looks like, and I was hoping that USC would get into the picture because I know he has already committed to Ohio State, but apparently he recently said a lot of teams are in the mix too, so don't count out your team. So hoping that means some good things for the local team in USC. Then when it came to a 2026 4-star defensive tackle, Tavarian Gerald, looks like he has a USC November 16th visit. I don't know if that's an official one. Maybe it is because it's so late in the process, but there's some school on there like Oklahoma, I think Alabama. There's some schools on that list that he's visiting like 3 times, which is pretty crazy. Usually it's just, twice, maybe an unofficial and official. But hopefully this one is an official one, and it looks like he's a pretty talented guy in that 2026 featured class, so looking forward to seeing where he ends up. Then a 4-star wide receiver, Phillip Bell, is announcing on August 31st, but now it looks like it's only between Ohio State and the local favorite USC, because he is a local California guy, so it'd be a pretty big time get. I know they're in the running for Jerome Miles, will be committing to later in the season, who is another talented wide receiver. This is another 4-star wide receiver. I think I'm going to talk about another 4-star wide receiver at some point pretty soon. So they're in the running for another top talented, pass catcher. So hopefully they get one of those guys at least. And then there was that 4-star wide receiver / athlete, James Johnson. Yes, he's the other receiver, and it looks like he put USC recently in his top 5. So this is a guy I never really saw him jump up in a lot of like the recruiting databases and during that process, like over the summer of visitors and stuff, but looks like he has USC in his final 5, so that's a good thing to know, especially since they are most likely going to get at least one more top wide receiver, as I said. In USC, and Lincoln Riley did recently name quarterback 1 for their team, and it was Miller Moss. No surprise there. It's obvious that he did very well for them in that Holiday Bowl win earlier on this year, or maybe it was late last year, I forget. But either way, he beat Louisville, did really good. Kept off the Will Howard guy who wanted to come to USC, but after that performance ended up going to Ohio State, and he was just barely named the starter for that team, even though he was considered one of the top guys in the transfer portal as well. So I thought that was pretty funny to see. But Jada Mayava is still there just in case something happens to Miller Moss or he just doesn't play well. So I think either way USC is going to be just fine at the quarterback spots. And then the Senior Bowl watch list came out. There's a ton of USC guys on there, but I guess apparently now you can count juniors along with that class, because there was some guys like Miller Moss is on that watch list, Jonah Monheim, of course, Bear Alexander, even Woody Marks. Bear Alexander and a couple other guys were like the guys who were only in college for 3 years, so usually that just goes to, like I said, it's the Senior Bowl. But I guess now they just added people because there's so many undergraduates, as they call them, guys who haven't graduated college yet going into the NFL, so might as well just get some more tape and invite these guys to those bowl games. So either way, it doesn't hurt. I believe it was 247 Sports put out like a recruit composite of the rankings of all the top talented players on a team's roster, and USC's right there at like 15 or 16, so they definitely have a lot of talent on that roster, but they will be playing a couple of those teams ahead of them with a little bit of more talent, so I guess that's why people assume USC will be losing, but USC is still top 15, and that's kind of like right where they are ranked right now in the recruiting process in the 2025 class, so hopefully the better recruits that they get, the higher they will jump up in this total composite as well. And PFF put out a top whatever how many teams are in the Big Ten of their quarterback rankings, and USC's Miller Moss is right there at number 4, so obviously they know how talented he is, and of course with Lincoln Riley he is going to put up some nice stats, which is what some PFF guy also said too, that he believes no matter what, Miller Moss isn't Caleb Williams with his athleticism, but he will be able to put up some nice, like a really good season statistical numbers or output. So yeah, he'll definitely have numbers. I don't think he'll have, great enough numbers to be a Heisman finalist unless he just goes completely crazy, but I still think it will be respectable enough for USC to have a nice winning record at the end of the season. Then when it came to, the Branch brothers, Zechariah and Zion, they did recently sign with Jordan Brand, and I believe they are the first college football players to do so, to sign with the Jordan Brand. And usually, I guess Jordan just sticks with basketball players onto his brand, but it's the first time he's got some football guys, and of course, they're from USC, so that's, a nice thing for all those future recruits to look at to see what they can get if they come to USC, possibly. And House of Victory re-signed running back Quentin Joyner. I believe when he was a freshman last year, they had him too, so he's back on that, making money for himself, so congrats to him. And USC recently named their their captains for week 1. I believe it was Jonah Monheim, Miller Moss, Akili Arnold, Easton Mascarenas Arnold, and Kyron Hudson as well. But they also did mention that the team captains each week aren't going to be permanent. Each guy basically has a chance to earn it again the next week, or if he doesn't earn it next week, it doesn't mean that he's underperforming. It just means that somebody else stepped up that week and earned it. So either way, it's a nice little thing to see who's the new team captain as well. So it's just a lot easier, I guess. And a PFF person recently said that USC's Akili Arnold, he's one of the best coverage safeties in the college football game this season coming up. So obviously if he has a really good season, he could get drafted pretty high as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do with USC. And Juju Smith-Schuster did re-sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, which is kind of interesting, but I guess he did get let go of the Patriots I talked about pretty recently, so now he's back, so we'll see what he can do. An ex-defensive end, Uchenna Nwosu from USC, who's with Seattle, did apparently sprain his MCL. He's going to be out 2 to 6 weeks maybe, so hoping for the best in that situation. And the ex-USC 5-star quarterback Malachi Nelson, who transferred away to Boise State because he thought it would be an easier way for him to start right away, looks like he lost the quarterback 1 battle to the guy who was there last year. So no matter how talented you are, or if you assume you're that talented, doesn't mean you're going to get that starting job. You got to earn it. No matter how much they pay to get you, you still got to earn it, buddy. And the women's soccer team did have a couple more games since we last spoke. They did beat CBU, I think that's Cal Baptist University, 1-0, and then they went on the road to Pepperdine, and they were able to beat them 3-1 as well. So technically they're still undefeated, I believe, because they did not lose. They only tied that first game at New Mexico State, but either way, still kind of undefeated as of right now, so good luck to them the rest of the way. And a 2025 4-star point guard, JJ Mandaquick, looks like he put USC in his final 9, so that was nice to see. Hopefully they have a chance at him later in his recruitment. And a 2025 4-star power forward, Chris Nabuli, I think I'm saying that correct, put USC in his final 6 as well, so that's nice. I think he has like a couple other California schools on there, so they're definitely battling out from the state of California. Then a 2025 four-star Dwayne Aristode put USC visit on September 18th through the 20th. So coming up pretty soon. So we'll see where he ends up. I'm probably going to talk about him with Duke because I think he's mentioned there as well as some dates. So you'll see that in a separate video. Then a 2025 shooting guard four-star Caden Edwards put USC in his final five as well. So yeah, they're making the list for a bunch of these top prospects, definitely all top 100 players as well if they're still considered four-star, maybe five-star pushing. So definitely very happy with what Eric Musselman is doing with the basketball program. And then one of the top elite recruits on the women's side in 2025, Grace Knox, put USC in her Final Four, and I believe she's scheduled a visit as well with the team. Don't know exactly when, but they're still in the running for some of the talented players out there in 2025, so that's always nice to see for the women's side. And I saw Chiwezie Metu being introduced by FC Barcelona because they have a basketball team as well, not only soccer. And they added like a bunch of nice guys. I want to say even Jabari Parker, the ex-Duke guy, is playing for that team. And they signed like another guy new from Virginia, Justin Anderson, pretty recently. But I guess some teams, if you can't make it in the NBA, just go over there overseas, and you're probably getting paid pretty nicely from that Spain team because it's a pretty well-known type of team in Barcelona. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do out there and maybe get another chance in the NBA. And it looks like they're kind of teasing those USC Pegasus shoes. My girlfriend actually went to the Goodwill pretty close to me here in Corona, and she found some USC Pegasus shoes, which are pretty surprising to me because those usually are only given to the athletes, and if you want to buy them like off of Fanatics, they're like over 120, 130 bucks, definitely over 100 bucks, even with a discount that day. But at this Goodwill, they're only like 30 bucks, which is a pretty nice deal in my opinion. And there was another pair, I'm like, why didn't you get the other pair? But maybe for another time. But yeah, they're pretty cool, pretty awesome. Hopefully, maybe you can get some hands on them. Maybe there's a ex-USC, athlete, or maybe a recent USC athlete close by here and just send it to that Goodwill. You never know, but that's pretty interesting. And then they also release a lot of look at some of the Kobe basketball shoes that the basketball teams are going to be supporting this fall, and they look awesome as usual. Obviously, Kobe design and with USC colors, there's something better. There's no better mix out there, so definitely looking forward to seeing those. And then, yeah, the big time matchup this Sunday, USC against LSU, a top 20 some odd matchup, which is pretty crazy, in Vegas, September 1st, 4:30 p.m. on ABC. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. If I'm able to watch it, I don't really know my schedule up until that point, but either way, I'm usually pretty much done with my package delivery by like 3 or 3:30, depending how busy that day is. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it. We'll hopefully be celebrating a lot of good stuff this weekend. But yeah, like I said, if this video isn't that long, then hopefully it'll just be one. But if it's pushing over 20, then expect separate ones. And if not, look out for a Duke one coming out, and hopefully a Lakers/Chargers one coming out too. And I also was able to finally see some new things, so I'll be adding to my series of recently TV and movie stuff that I've watched pretty recently. Only 2 things, maybe another thing coming up this weekend, you never know. But yeah, look forward to that. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Fight on.